you have you ready? Stuff in
Nope, but Mike will be here, he can spit it out, or Mary can. As long as they come in here.
Speed on there, good.
Because one needs to be done, needs to be done into the workshop. Going over all that stuff.
But I couldn't even open the thing.
No, that's why I printed them for
I
everybody.
emailed and I couldn't open it.
Yeah.
I didn't even look, I don't look, I'm not on my computer every day like that.
He's on it.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Rick Robertson.
Here.
John Clark.
Here.
Amanda Hunter. Here. Joan David.
Here.
Nancy Conlon. Presently accounted for.
Okay, approval of agenda.
I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda with board discussion as F and then moving F to G.
Approve the agenda what? Okay.
With board discussion, adding board discussion as F and then moving adjournment to G.
Do I have a second?
For it.
Okay, motion by Hunter to approve the agenda, adding board discussion for F and adjournment would be G. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 5-0. Public comments on action items?
Yeah, so I'd like to give you guys each a copy of this in order, so I got one, but showing the law and the ordinance on that special use permit. And also, so it's my understanding that now you have one lawyer that said that it's okay to do this. You don't have it in writing, and you have in writing from 3 lawyers saying that this is not legal. Is that correct?
No. What it was the one lawyer that we talked to that is no longer in the firm agreed to that we could do the rezoning. But we also had the option of a special use. And talking to the other lawyers, they agreed with him, but they suggested a special use because, for one thing, if you rezone, it's a time frame and it's a cost. And then if that business up and leaves, then if another business comes in, it could open up some issues. And the best thing would be doing a special use, which would be the same as rezoning, but once that business is out of there, it goes back to what it was originally. It's no longer.
That is not carried through to a new owner.
So using whether you do rezoning or special use, he would be able to do what he wants to do. It's just with a special use, once he moves out of that property, when and if he does, then it's voided for the next person coming in.
Even though 3 lawyers said that that's, I mean, the Varnum attorney and then 2 of your attorneys as of last meeting said that's not legal.
No.
Well, our attorney, I swore, said it was not legal. That's why we didn't do this back in May.
Right.
At the first one was our attorney said we can't use a special use to rezone this. And now the John is saying that we can.
Yeah,
He said that it was better to use a special use than it would be to rezone the property.
But originally,
The original
lawyer, which was Sawyer, correct?
Right.
Said that we could not use a special use because if we could have, this would have been dealt with 5 months ago.
He suggested, I don't think there was we should or shouldn't or could or couldn't. He suggested that we go with the rezoning, but
I guess that doesn't make sense why we didn't approve it back then if we could have done it back then at that point.
he wanted to get that building up, and rather than drag anything out longer with the rezoning, we went with the special use for that building.
Yeah, I guess I just don't understand why we didn't approve his full special use permit back then if we could have. That's my question. If we were allowed to back then, if the lawyer determined that we were allowed to, why didn't we?
I think because,
But
I think he
I
was
thought the
willing
lawyer
to
said we
take,
couldn't.
the special use that he had was to put up the building so he could get that up this year, get the building up so that he could use it for storage of equipment. And Andre was willing to go that far, at least to get that rolling. That was my understanding.
Okay, that was not my understanding from what I heard the lawyer said from last
Yeah.
Well,
May or whatever.
I think he said that they could put the building up, but no
But he couldn't
marijuana.
Right,
do marijuana on that because a special use wouldn't take over that.
Another can of worms.
Right, because he wanted to go ahead.
But he's not doing that, he's just he's asking to use the building to.
Yeah, but he's not gonna be up to code.
But
He will be.
what,
He's gonna put up fencing and he's got his trees ordered. What else do we do? It's Michigan. That's my thinking. It's
Well-
like when he planted the little trees. He planted trees. It takes a while for those trees to grow. So everybody was in a shake about that. We went with the berm.
all those trees died for.
Do we have berms at any of the other sites?
Do we?
Do we have berms at the other sites?
No, they.
Oh, I thought you were
No,
saying.
we have vegetative screening of 6 feet or more
Okay,
at the other sites. We do
Okay.
not have berms.
okay.
I was gonna say, cause I didn't believe that was a board decision. I thought that was
in our ordinance.
the trees 6 foot or more, but the berm I did not realize was anything.
I think you did the berm just so you would have the height.
Height. Yeah.
Without the berm, then he's gonna have
He was
to
at-
either order bigger trees or it's gonna take longer for the trees to get the
And
height
he was
they
at
need
the
to be.
contractor's discretion on that, and that was Beckman Brothers.
So I'm sorry if I could speak. I have a friend that every year he plants, I thought it was corn, it's not, some sort of grass that grows like corn, it gets
Oh.
6, 7, 8 foot tall and really fast. He does that every year. I could have done that too, I just wanted to make something a little bit more, I guess, better, you know? So it's there all year round. But
The other facilities have all used pine trees. RQMI had Reese's Brothers actually relocate existing pine trees because they had so many on their properties. That they was those big scoop things and planted those, spaced out to do their screening.
So they reused what was on the property.
Right. Andre did not have nice big
So
portable.
I asked, but I couldn't find anyone to relocate them, so I talked to the nursery, and the nursery said that we will not warranty them to plant them in the summer, in either early spring or fall, and then they would warranty them, and if anything dies, they'll replace. That's where we're at right now. If I can find someone that can relocate them, there's so many trees all around here that we can relocate. No.
Anyone else? Okay, business items, no old business, new business, planning commission recommendation for special use. You wanna read it?
You don't want to see it first, for these notes, I have to go home and I have to listen and then write it.
Where'd Michael go?
Oh, I can, if there was a real question, I thought you were kidding. Thank you. The planning commission recommendation to the board was to approve the special use permit for High Cloud with stipulations that it's only to be used for storage, drying, and processing marijuana and equipment storage, and that all ordinances are followed as is practicable.
Practicable.
Okay, so I make a motion that we approve the planning commission's recommendation for the special use.
Support.
Okay, motion by David, supported by Robertson.
Can we open up discussion? I've got a couple things. One, am surely curious why we never take into account the letters of opposition or the people who come in, and state their opposition, especially when we don't have anybody coming in favor. I would like to just make it known that we don't ever take that into account when we make our decisions, it seems like. And I still, from everything that I understood from back then, the whole reason we didn't allow him to do the special use permit back in, I believe it was May when we did it the first time, was because the lawyer told us that because it was state law that you can't put marijuana facilities on residential property, or on anything zoned residential, that we could only allow him to put up the building, and we could not allow him to actually grow or process or store marijuana on the residentially zoned property. Now we're getting different opinion from our council, and I'm just also not comfortable because I haven't seen anything in writing from the lawyer saying that that's.
And we actually have tried to get something from
I
him.
get that, I understand that, but it begs the question, if he's not willing to put it in writing, or if he hasn't put it in writing, will he stand up in court with us and backing that up?
I think he would.
Because
He would have not told them that in a phone conversation with two people there. John's been around for 40 years in that firm. And Sawyer was a very young lawyer, and John had time to think about it and talk to them, and he is also the lawyer for the village. I've seen him in action there. I feel very comfortable with John. And if he said this is the way to go, time-wise and otherwise, we have a lot of special use permits that are in process already in our township. At least three gravel pits and whatnot. So, you know, it can be done if he leaves or moves, pulls that operation out, that's done.
it's just there was a difference between the other special use permits and his special use permit, because the other special use permits didn't specifically say in state law that.
Oh, the mining one did. That was a long drawn out process. I was in that.
That one specifically says in state law you cannot have mining on residential property, because that's what it says for marijuana on residential property. That's where we're in this whole mess in the first place. Those are my understandings. I'm just not comfortable if the lawyer hasn't put it in writing. And the meeting was.
The lawyer.
If we give a special use, you're giving them permission to use it as a marijuana, or we're changing the zoning, right? So a lot of the cities or townships change zonings, you guys don't, you just give special use permits. You know what I mean? So I mean, I'm the one who's getting hurt here. Either change the zoning or give me a special use permit.
I thought we were supposed to, I thought originally we had determined we were changing the zoning. That's what we had determined back in May. So now that it's changed again to another,
The township doesn't change zonings, they give special use permits. So it's the same as changing the zoning, that's my understanding.
that's not my understanding
That's
of
my
it.
lawyers too, and you know, it just doesn't make any sense, because when I first came here, I said, can we change the zoning in another parcel I was buying? No, you cannot change the zoning, we give special use permits. That's what was told, and then I moved on, I didn't buy 100 acres that I was going to because of the zoning issue. Now, like I said, you know, if you can give me a special use permit, it would be the same as changing the zoning in the eyes of any court, you know what I mean? So that's all it is. I don't see anyone getting in trouble here by changing the zoning or doing a special use permit. But because you guys don't change the zonings, you get special use permits, and we'll run with that, you know? I mean, when this map was built, you know, a lot of things didn't exist, you know, probably like microchips and a lot of different businesses, marijuana or a lot of these other things, right? I mean, I can grow hemp there. I buy hemp. I buy hemp that has CBN in it to infuse with THC for sleeping agents, right? I can grow hemp, but it's just like marijuana without asking you guys. I can simply go to the state, get a $100 permit, and not pay you guys anything for it. So, I mean, it's, what's the difference, really?
I'm just looking at our lawyer, from what was stated at the meeting originally, with your original
That
permit.
lawyer, it was put on his desk today to give an answer within a week. I mean, it needs, you know, the lawyer probably was not comfortable, God knows, you know?
Well, he gave you guys the opinion last
Yes.
week,
No, he gave us the opinion on a call August 16th.
so that was.
Okay, wait, can I just finish my statement, and then you can speak as much as you wish, Amanda? But we talked to the lawyer on August 16th, okay? No one requested, and I disseminated that information following that. No one requested this in writing until just this weekend. Now, Tuesday, obviously Monday, no one's in their office, it's a holiday. Tuesday, I emailed Mr. Schreier. I also put in a phone call. I received no response. Yesterday, I called again. I received no response. I called now a third time yesterday and talked to his legal secretary, who said she can't write it for him, but she would pass the message along. I did not still receive a response. At 4:45 today, I called again. I don't think it's a matter of, my understanding from her is that because they are down lawyers, since the one left, that he has been overwhelmed with work.
Plus, he's not in the office on Tuesdays, he's
Yep.
at the
That's his
city
court
of,
day.
he's at the city of Muskegon.
Muskegon on Tuesday.
So it's not a matter of him not backing this up or anything nefarious like that. It's a matter of timing. It took us, to get that call on the 16th, took us over a month to get that appointment. So it's not a, well, they just blew it off, or they didn't really, no, it's very hard. This is a topic for another discussion, but, I think it is in a way problematic that we don't get a quick response from our attorney, but that's what it is. Okay.
I guess my thought with that is, do they ever send recaps of what you guys talked about? Because if they don't, we need to start requesting that.
I mean, we're just going by hearsay, I mean, we don't have no proof of nothing.
Oh, he records.
Yeah, but why don't we
When we get
something?
billed, we get a full billing of everything that is discussed.
Why don't we get a paper on it?
We do if we request.
Why
Most
don't
of the
we?
time.
We should.
He did request,
He
he
did
hasn't got
request,
the
he just
I
answer.
did
hasn't got it
request
yet.
that, John, and I got no response.
But when he bills us, we get a full separated billing for everything that is discussed. So if you discuss several things with him, you know, he goes over each, it's all on there. When
I just don't like the situation, because last year, like Amanda said, we agreed on all this, no marijuana, okay. Now he's going for a special permit to dry it. Now what's he gonna do in the spring? Well, I gotta go another special permit, we're gonna grow that property.
Well,
I
the
don't-
next one wouldn't be another special
Well-
use permit, it would be an adjustment to
So
this.
you know what I
current
mean?
one. I just,
It's not right to the neighborhood and everything, I disagree with him.
But he's not putting in more plants, and
He will, he can come and do it.
he's,
in that, didn't Michael say for the building only?
We're spreading the plans out.
For drawing, processing in the building.
he's
In the
not
building.
requesting any
Yeah,
more
but I'm
permits.
saying.
He's not
in
requesting
spring-
any more permits.
Right, but in spring, he's gonna come up with something else, oh, I gotta have.
But that
I
doesn't
gotta
mean
go.
that we have to approve it.
Oh, well, you guys play right in his hands, I mean, come
Oh,
on.
come on, John, let's
Yes.
clean it up.
No,
I ain't gonna clean it up.
That's- that needs to stop.
It's
So anyway,
about
so-
time we take our township back and the neighborhood, and it's not run right, it's not, you know. I mean, you can decorate whatever you want, but this is not right.
So, we have a motion on the floor and a second, so you wanna do a roll call vote?
Yep. Amanda Hunter,
no,
Joan David,
Yes?
Rick Robertson,
Yes.
John Clark,
No,
Nancy Conley, yes. 3-2.
Okay, next, I put on here supervisor training. The only reason I did it now instead of waiting till our next meeting is because the deadline is, September 13th. The training is October 5th and 6th in Harbor Springs. They have a lot of good information, and I haven't been to one of these trainings since 2016, and there's a lot of beneficial things. And so I'm just hoping that the board approves me to go to it. Some of the things are, managing meetings, boosting board engagement, financials, assessing, insights on state and local relations, talk about free speeches, and this is just some of them.
What's the cost for it?
It is, for the full program, it's $365. And then lodging is approximately at $182 a night.
It's 2 nights.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the supervisor's training for our supervisor October 5th and 6th in Harbor Springs at a cost of $365 plus $182 per night for 2 nights.
Now you gotta add tax on that,
Oh, plus tax.
hotel tax and stuff.
Sometimes when they do the conferences, they, I know,
No,
I know.
it's, I
you're
think
right.
it says plus taxes and fees.
If you're
Okay.
gonna set a money mark, I
Yeah.
would up that $50 to cover the tax, so I'd
Okay.
do it 800.
You're right. Plus tax.
And we're doing, on
And
top of that,
fees.
probably an hourly wage for training, right?
Pardon?
Hourly wage for trainings?
We haven't in the past paid hourly wage for overnight trainings.
Okay,
We pay them mileage.
okay.
You can pay me hourly if you want.
I supported that motion.
Okay.
Okay, motion by Conley, supported by Robertson, to approve supervisor training for October 5th and 6th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 5-0. The next thing is we have to do a resolution on early voting.
Okay, the early voting that was put into, voted on last fall, giving the 9 days to early vote before an election that is either federal or state. I went to a meeting up at Hart with other clerks and their deputies, and the state is putting together a program where instead of each individual precinct, each individual township going the cost, even though some of it is going to be reimbursed, the cost is unreal. You have to come up with a whole set of all your voting equipment, a second set, because it has to be kept separate from what you're gonna use the day of the vote for 9 days ahead, along with the people that are working. So Amy is working with the state, and she has 2 of the clerks have taken charge with her. Stephanie Van Sickle from Elbridge and Cora Conley from Greenwood will be helping with setting this up with the state, writing the grant, and the 9 days that we would be using for an early vote, and that does not include AV ballots. The early vote would take place in Hart for those 9 days. And all the precincts, all the townships have agreed to do that. So it first go into effect in the spring for the presidential primary. So the early voting for Oceana County would all be in Hart. And what we would do, she's writing the grant for the equipment and the hours, and the 15, I think there's 15 townships plus the city of Hart. Will take turns manning that for 9 days, and they'll set up the schedule and do all that. So we just need a resolution that we agree with it and we'll follow it. And then she has a meeting on the 20th of September that we will go up and the clerks will sign the grant that goes into the state to set this up. So we need a resolution to agree to do the early voting for Newfield Township in the federal and state elections next year. Will be done in Hart. And all of the clerks that were there were in agreement. So I make a motion for the resolution 9-7-0023 to agree to early voting for Newfield Township to take place in Hart. And that'll be for the federal and state.
I'll support that.
Is this gonna be a thing we need to do yearly, or is this?
I do not know.
Okay, cause I know that you have the option to yearly bring it back.
And I
if you
think
want.
my understanding is the yearly, to see how it goes, we're playing it out, nobody knows how it's gonna go, and they've written the grant, they've worked on that, and this is for next year, so yes, I'm assuming we'll have to do this yearly. It does not affect any local elections. We do have a local election here in November. It'll be the Hesperia Community Schools is running a millage, and also the Nuevo County RISA will be running a millage. And they have agreed in Levitt Township, they've asked us if we will pick up their, they have about 100 to 150 people in Levitt Township who are in the Hesperia School District. And this will save them, like what Ferry did for us last year for Shelby's school election. We're gonna help out Levitt, and they will be coming here to vote. But this is something separate, but the resolution is for the state and federal elections for the year 2024.
You wanna do a roll call vote?
John?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Joan?
Yes.
Nancy? Yes.
Okay, and the last thing that we have on the agenda is board discussion, to do with the ordinances that Steve had turned in. Jeez.
You found it?
Yeah, I got you now. So Steve had turned in, one for civil infractions, one for blight, and it was suggested by our lawyer to separate our ORV ordinance, just simply, well, for a couple of reasons. One is because it's, with it being combined with our other ordinance, it makes it hard for people to locate that ordinance, and he just felt that it should be separated. So as far as the ORV, that's, everything in it is the same as it was before. It's just gonna be on its own, have its own ordinance number. So does anybody have any question about that?
Nope, my board discussion was just that, I do believe when we actually go through these, I believe that the lawyer should be present. I'm guessing we probably need to or should make a motion for that, so I'd like to make a motion that, at the meeting that we're planning on going through these, that we, have our attorney present to ask questions to, whether that can be, and this might have to be another motion, but whether that can be the one coming up in 2 weeks, or if we have to have a special meeting.
My feeling is, I think we need to do a workshop on it, because I think that us sitting down in a workshop and talking and bringing up all of our, rather than a general meeting at first to put it out there,
And
and
we
then
can have it
maybe
at
have
the
him
beginning
at
of
the
our
general meeting.
Well, we can have the workshop at 6 o'clock prior to the.
Right, if you think we can do it all in one.
Well, it's,
Well, you
Well,
pull the
just
ORV out, so then you just have civil infraction and the blight, but the blight's pretty big. But my suggestion is, I agree with the lawyer. I think it'd be a good idea to have him here and ask questions, but I think we should do it in some type of workshop first before we bring it to the board vote.
That might be better, just because then we can do the work, and I would not suggest it on the same night then.
No.
Because if we're gonna do a workshop,
I just think a workshop would be better. I just
I
think,
don't, cause
if we're gonna go
we're
through
still,
paragraph by
gonna
paragraph.
have, if we're still gonna have a quorum, we're still gonna have to post for it, so,
Oh, yeah, but if we're going paragraph by paragraph,
yeah, but that way we can make the changes and we can have all of them written and a new draft presented to the board.
board, yeah.
So if we wanna do it as a workshop or if we wanna do it as a special meeting, I guess it doesn't make sense either way. I mean, a workshop, we can't, take action on anything, we can
No,
just talk
We just
about
work
it, so.
on it.
So I guess I'll make a motion.
Realize also that your ordinance has to be, after it's passed, it has to be published,
Right,
and then it cannot take effect for 30 days
after it's in the
after the
paper,
date of publication.
right.
So we're looking at any enforcement actions that we're hoping to do, we're now looking at probably early November. Just for
we-
Yeah, I just.
We've gotta do it, and we're not doing it tonight, so
No, I feel comfortable going through it in a workshop.
I would like to have a lawyer in front of us as we go through it to determine everything. So I'll make a motion to, set up a workshop where the lawyer can be present, so that we can go over all of the ordinances before we bring it to a meeting.
I'll support
So it's gonna be based on when he can get here. So when he gets back with us, we'll get back with you to set up a workshop date. Does that sound all right?
it. And you got a time on that, 6 or
It's just
whenever he.
Whatever
Yeah.
he can get here.
Yeah.
I know when he's been at meetings at the village, it's been like early, get it done, and then he leaves and they do their board meeting.
I mean,
So,
it could be in the afternoon.
yeah, it could be in the afternoon.
I don't know, I don't think an hour before the board meeting is gonna be
No.
sufficient, to
Oh,
be
no,
honest.
no, me neither.
So I think it should either be
It'll be
another
separate,
day or
yeah.
something before the board meeting, or
Yeah.
if it happens to be after, then we'll just bring it up at another board
Yeah,
meeting
I think so too. So-
later.
So once we find out from him, then we will let you
Yeah.
know, everybody know, okay?
Okay, motion by Hunter, supported by Clark, to, get hold of the lawyer to have, or no, not to get hold of the
Set up a
lawyer,
workshop.
to set up a workshop
With the lawyer present.
and to go over the ordinances,
Yep.
so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so we'll get hold of the lawyer and set up a day
I'll
and
send
time,
something out right tonight.
and,
I'm thinking he's on
then
vacation.
get hold of everybody. Is there any date or day of the week that does not work? Cause we don't wanna make a date and then find out that,
I am not available on the
Oh, now you got it down.
25th, 26th, or 27th, I know for sure, I am not available.
That's what this month.
And your
Yes.
last day for taxes is the 14th?
Is the 14th, so I'm not available on the 14th. This is a bad month for me.
Yeah,
Um,
well, we'll do a tentative, get with you, and then get back with him and confirm.
yeah.
John, do you have any dates that,
Other than if I ain't
He's
going.
retired.
you usually do that in the morning? So if we do an afternoon?
Yeah, 'cause I usually, I try to get early appointments, so.
Monday, so that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, will be 25th, 26th, and 27th of September. Same as Amanda.
Excellent.
Yes, that's the
Going
same
somewhere?
times I'm going.
And I'm having a colonoscopy on the 10th of October.
Okay,
Ruder.
all those important things.
Might be able to come, but I won't be.
That is permanently on record now.
Everybody knows.
Okay.
Okay, if there's,
There's only one other thing, I know when you pulled in the parking lot tonight, you noticed that the gates are here, but they're not connected. So that's another whole issue, I've been on the phone.
So
with them.
we don't have a tentative, opening for
No,
that?
I'm going to get a hold of them yet tonight. The dumpsters are ready. They're gonna bring them in on a semi and have Dennis put his blades on the tractor and unload them that way. That'll save us on hauling fees of 2 at a time. We can bring a whole dumpster, or a whole semi full. Those are all ready to be placed. The signage is here that goes out there, the signs in back. We have the individual signage. Did you take any for Denver Township?
Not yet, no.
Okay. I sent some with the village when Mike was in here, so that's where we're at. Michael, I'm assuming the sign is ready to be placed. Jonathan's done all on the sign work, or the pillars, and Michael was waiting to do that. Jonathan
He's
drilled the
doing
holes.
that right now.
Oh, is that what
He's
that's
putting it
what
up right now, okay, so that's, the sign will be in place. So, we're coming along. Fence guys I'm not impressed with, but some people you have to call every week, so, but that's where we're at.
Okay, if there's nothing,
Yeah, I got Steve, I heard him earlier, you said now the hoppers is not coming till Saturday morning?
That is correct.
at 7
So
o'clock.
you probably have people here waiting, right? Most likely.
I
They
hope we
may,
don't-
yeah.
I hope we don't.
Yeah, the
find
idea
piles of
was,
junk.
John, we always had a problem with people throwing stuff in ahead of time,
Oh, I know, yep.
you know, so, and also after we close. So the way I have it set up is they'll deliver the dumpsters at 7, and at 2 o'clock, they'll be picking them up. So,
Oh, the same day.
yep,
So
Because
nobody,
usually leave them a couple days.
yeah. Well,
that
this
way no early drop-offs or no,
Yeah,
coming in
this
late.
way we don't have to worry about people piling stuff up next to them or, you know, overflowing them and getting charged for that or, you know, as long as they're willing to do that, or, yeah.
okay, is there any other board discussion? If not, I make a motion to adjourn.
No support.
Motion by David, supported by Hunter to adjourn at, the glare, 7:58. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.